scriptures say the one who gives peace is a true sant. Such a sant helps us to recognize God and gives us peace and happiness. He is also the Das of the Das. Param P.P.Shantidada is such a Sadguru Sant. He was the beloved of Yogi Ji Maharaj and he is the beloved of Sant Bhagwant Sahib Dada. On Param P.P.Shantidada's 79th Pragatyadan, let us do darshan of his unique life. When Bhagwan Swaminarayan came to the village of Godiad near Vadodara in Gujarat, he stood by the lake and gave blessings that this whole village will become Satsangi. Shastri Ji Maharaj and Yogi Ji Maharaj came to this village so many times. On August 27, 1942, Sadguru Sant Param P.P.Shantidada was born on the divine land of this village. His father's name was Puja Phulabai and his mother's name was Puja Kantaben. His younger sister's name was Puja Madhuben. Shantibai's parents were very devoted satsangis. When Shantibai was only 6 months old, Shastri Ji Maharaj gave him Vartman, put the kanthi on him and gave the blessings that this Maha Ekantik Mukt will join countless people to God. Then whenever Shastri Ji Maharaj will come to Godiad, little Shantibai would have the benefit of performing his arti. Our beloved Shantidada was very clever in his studies. Even when he was so young, he went to school in Godiad. But when he turned 11 years old, he went to school in a village called Padra. The school was 5 kilometers away and he had to walk to school every day. He would wake up at 4 o'clock in the early morning, get ready, do his tilak chanlo, and then at 5 o'clock, he would leave from home alone and walk 5 kilometers to school. It would still be dark outside, so people of the village would say to Phulabai, "Don't send him alone." There was a lake on the way to Padra which was haunted, but little Shantibai had complete faith in the Swaminarayan Mahamantra. He would chant Swaminarayan, Swaminarayan all the way to school and reach safely, and would also explain the importance of Dhoon to all his friends. By doing Dhoon, he also helped all the ghosts and set them free. Shantibai would always come first in class, and he had such beautiful handwriting. The school's teachers would be so impressed with his studies, his writing, and his character, and his command over languages, Gujarati and Sanskrit, was there from the very beginning. The teacher would always show Shantibai's written essays to the other students. After schooling and passing with great marks, Shantibai took admission into VP Science College in Vidyanagar to study botany and came to stay in Royal Hostel. On June 19, 1959, when Shantibai was sitting in his room number 287 of Royal Hostel, Jashbai, meaning our Sahib Dada, while walking in the lobby passed his room and saw Shantibai. So although he had passed the room and gone a few steps ahead, Jashbai came back and stood in Shantibai's doorway and said, "We have met before. Are you Swaminarayan?" This Smruti was also fresh in Shantibai's mind. He remembered he had seen Jashbai in Atladra. Jashbai then asked Shantibai to join the Guru Sabha they were doing in the hostel with the Yogi Bapa's Agnya. That was it. Since then, Shantibai joined Jashbai's army and is with him to this day. As more and more youths came to Sahib Dada joined them to Yogi Baba. And this was how Puja Ashwin Bhai and Puja Shantibai first met and became friends for life. Once Yogi Baba was so pleased with them, he put their two heads together and said, "You are brothers from a previous lifetime, so stay as brother in this lifetime too. Stay in Jashbhai Sahib's Agnya." So even today, we can see the amazing friendship they have. During those college days, Yogi Baba would regularly write letters to Sahib Dada and his friends and also gave them so many niyams to follow. Like they should not eat or drink anything before doing their puja. They should do regular weekly sabha. They should eat all of their food mixed up in one bowl. And if they touch the opposite gender, then they have to fast. And they could only drink water that had been strained, etc. In this way, all the youths followed these agnya perfectly. Shantibai too would perfectly follow all the niyams that Bapa had given. Let me tell you one prasang about this. Once, Shantibai had to go on a college trip to Masuri for 10 days. It was a 2-day journey by train and they would reach Dehradun at night. Bapa had given the niyam not to drink or eat anything without doing puja. So on the second day, when there was a 1-hour stop in Delhi, Shantibai went and quickly had a bath in the waiting room. He came back and sat on the top berth of the train and did his puja. Shantibai finished his BSc studies and then took admission in MSc. He had such command over the subject of botany. When drawing plants and flowers in his journal, he would do it so beautifully that it looked like it was printed. Shantibai was very ambitious from the start. The book his professor would use by Catherine Isu was known as the Bible of Plant Anatomy. Inspired by this, Shantibai thought, I will also do research in biology and write a book by S.F. Patel that the whole world will use as a reference book. Even circumstances arranged themselves in that way. In his BSc, he stood first in the whole university and received a gold medal. The Indian government took note of this. When the Indian government selected only 3 students from the whole India to go and study at Cambridge University on scholarship, one of them was our Shantibai. Shantibai told Sahibji about this and asked what he should do. Should he go or not? Sahibji said, do dun, and then do whatever Bapa inspires you to do from within. According to this agnya, Shantibai did dun for 1 hour, and he heard Bapa's voice from within saying that we must not go. That was it. Knowing Bapa's inner wish, he canceled going to the UK. But to be selected like this was such an honor for the college and for the university. And so, the university tried very hard to persuade Shantibai to go. His professor even wrote a letter to Yogi Bapa. Bapa replied to this, telling Shantibai to please his professor. But Shantibai knew Bapa's inner will, so even the whole world's achievements seemed insignificant in comparison. He wanted to please Bapa, and he believed that to be the greatest achievement. Even in his MSc, Shantibai received first class first, and so he was offered a job by VP Science College. Shantibai was only 22 years old. Shantibai's teaching style was so amazing that students from other colleges would attend his lectures. Shantibai also believed in discipline, so once he entered the class, he would ensure the front and back doors were shut, and he would always keep a chalk and duster with him. In his 45-minute lecture, he would not let a single minute go to waste. Using both hands, he would draw such beautiful figures on the blackboard that students would immediately understand everything. He would have a chalk in both hands, and when the 45-minute lecture would finish, even his chalk would be finished. This was his great command over the subject of botany.
Then, as Shantibai became of marriageable age, Pujya Phula Kaka and the extended family began their efforts to find Shantibai a suitable bride. But Shantibai wanted to become a sadhu, so he would find ways to slip away from this. Because of this, Shantibai's uncle, Pujya Shiva Kaka, who was very short-tempered, became very angry. So one day he went straight up to college. He barged into the room where Shantibai was giving a lecture and, shouting at him, grabbed him by the wrist and from the middle of all the students dragged him out, put him on a bus and took him back to Goriad. But Shantibai was so divine, so he did not say a single word to his uncle. But Shantibai was not one who would accept defeat either. As soon as they reached the village, Shantibai started satsang activities. He went and stayed in the Swaminarayan Mandir in Goriat and would only go home for meals. His mother, Pujya Kantaben, would lovingly make many items, but Shantibai would eat only one thing at each meal. If one day he would eat only rice, then on the other day he would eat only dal, and on the third day he would eat only shak. Everyone at home became so fed up of this. If prospective brides came to see him, Shantibai would skew his eyes, so girls would naturally reject him. This carried on for almost 1 year. During this period came the holy month of Shravan. The village wanted to hold a Parayan, but they could not find a Brahman. So they asked Shantibai, "Will you do the Parayan?" At that time, Shantibai was only 22 years old, but he had come to do God's work, and so he immediately said yes, and did a Parayan on the Bhakt Chintamani. He spoke of Maharaj's Leela Charitra and of Yogiji Maharaj's great Mahima. Bapa was so pleased with Shantibai's seva and devotion. The very next year, Santa did a Parayan in Goriad. The responsibility for all the arrangements was given to Shantibai, which he carried out with such perfection and devotion. On the final day, Bapa himself came to give Ashirwad and again became so pleased with Shantibai. At that time, Shantibai's family members and the elders of the village all approached Bapa and asked Bapa to give Shantibai the agna to get married. And so, during the sabha, Bapa put a garland on Shantibai and said, "We are pleased if Shantilal Bhai gets married. Here, we are giving you this garland." Hearing this, the whole family became so pleased and thought, now Shantibai will get married. But Yogi Bapa at the same time asked Param Pujya Mahant Swami to explain one Vachnamrut to Shantilal Bhai so that he would get ready to marry, and in this way sent Shantibai to Param Pujya Mahant Swami. Param Pujya Mahant Swami said, "If Bapa had asked me to explain this Vachnamrut to make someone a sadhu, then I could explain it in that way too." Then Shantibai told Param Pujya Mahant Swami his wish was to become a sadhu. So Mahant Swami became pleased and closed the Vachnamrut and said, "Now there is no need to explain anything to you. You have understood Bapa's inner wish." So Shantibai went back to his activities at Goriad Mandir with the firm decision not to marry. He would not say anything and he would not speak much even with the family members. He stayed only in the mandir. All the family members then realized that Shantibai will not marry, he will become a sadhu. We would think that Bapa has given this agna and Shantibai has gone and done something different. Even Shantibai thought, did I really follow Yogi Bapa's inner wish, or did I just do what I wanted to do? Nobody told Yogi Bapa this, but Bapa was all-knowing, and he gave the answer to this in Sarangpur. Yogi Bapa said to one youth, "We told Shantibai in public to get married, but he didn't, so we were so pleased. We told him go abroad to study, but he did not, so we were so pleased with him." This type of devotion that Shantibai is doing to this day, knowing the inner wishes of the Guru. After that, Yogi Bapa gave Sahib Ji and his friends Mantra Diksha. They were staying in Sriji colony in Vallabh Vidyanagar. At that time, Shantibai was still in Goriad. In 1967, Bapa's 75th birthday was being celebrated in Gondal on a grand scale. A matter of great honor for us is that at that time, the leader nominated for the whole youth wing of BAPS was Shantibai. And in that samayo, out of the entire Satsang Samaj, Shanti Bhai was selected to drive Yogi Bapa's chariot. After the Samayo, a devotee by the name of Mohan Bhai had come by car from Dharmaj to Gondal for Bapa's darshan. Bapa told him to take Shanti Bhai and drop him off wherever he says. There were 3 options. One was to take charge of the boys' hostel in Vidyanagar as a youth leader of BIPS. The second one was to go back to Gaudiad and get married. And the third was to stay with Sahib Dada and join his team. Out of these 3, Shanti Bhai chose the third option and came to stay with Sahib Dada for good. He believed Sahib Dada to be God's Swarup and continues to live his life like this to this very day. One day in 1968, Param Pujya Sahib Dada told Pujya Shantidada that from today you are responsible for all the pujas that take place and you must carry them out, like Mahapuja, Khatmurat, Yagnas or any such puja. Only Brahmins know how to carry out such pujas. Shantidada had studied science, but because it was Sahib Dada's Agna, he started to study Sanskrit and learn all the pujas that we needed. He did this seva for so many years and continues to do so. There are so many sevas like this that he is doing only to please Sahib Dada. Kakaji had once given the blessings that Shanti Bhai will distribute peace. Shanti Dada loves children, and now we must in the real sense become beloved to him. Let us make the wish. We have all just had darshan of Shanti Dada's life. Let us all pray every day that our life also becomes filled with devotion, mahima and surrender just like Shanti Dada. We bow to Param Pujya Shantidada, who is the giver of our peace, on his 79th Pragatya Parva. Jai Shri Swaminarayan.